This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, we are here for the Monday, July 15th, 2024 meeting of the Easthampton Energy Advisory Committee. Jeremy kept the chair of the committee, joined by committee members Josh Rosenblatt, Cassie Escoff, Connie Dawson, John Pepe, and as always for now, conservation agent Cassie Schreger. Thank you all for being here. First thing on the agenda, since we didn't get to this last time, we were short a quorum in June.
Sorry, everybody.
It's okay. We can work through it. The May 20th meeting minutes, which you did share a while back now. We can get the same day version today. So anyone like to make a move to approve?
So go first. I move to approve the May 20th, 2024 minutes.
Josh moves.
I second the
Cassie
motion.
seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting minutes are approved. Please submit those to the city clerk's office and close the books on that. We don't have any members of the public here, online or in person. So we will just move right on to some of our committee updates. First of all, our conservation agent update. Cassie, welcome to your last meeting with us.
Right. Yes, this is my last meeting. But I have updates for a lot of these things, and so I can kind of address them as we get to them. Maybe if it makes no sense.
That's fine. Yeah.
But I would just say, like, a general update is that I am going to be creating an exit memo for whoever replaces me. And one of the things I want to hopefully try to establish this meeting is, like, if just worst case scenario, we don't get anyone for a minute and there is a gap, having see if we can identify folks who want to, like, keep tabs on these things before until a coordinator is found. But yeah, that's kind of my overarching goal for all these updates. But if you guys want to then go through, unless someone has questions for me, but we can.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wasn't sure. I mean, I know the job's been posted. I don't know if there's like an updated timeline from the city on filling anything, or people are responding, or whatever.
Yeah. So, well, it's interesting because the conservation agent position has been posted, but they're actually separating it out to sustainability coordinator.
Right.
So I have a lot of updates for that are really promising, and it's happening soon. But I can tell you about it all now if that's easier. Because
yeah, we can talk about it. I have that right here in the next section
Yeah.
for the green communities update, the city sustainability coordinator.
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you cover it all together?
Okay. So yeah, for the sustainability coordinator, or maybe we can make it work our way down, maybe if that makes sense.
You want?
2024 proposal and annual report. Or maybe I'm going to start with the coordinator. That make more sense. So they that is a new position that's never existed for the city. So it has to be created into the city ordinance through the city council first. And so it's been brought to the city council to first introduce it, and then went to the next step is to go to the ordinance subcommittee. And that's tomorrow night, apparently.
Ordinance subcommittee.
Yeah, I know, but it's because it's in the ordinances that the position has to be listed in the ordinance.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, yep. And so my understanding is the position is going to be within the Department of Public Works,
Right.
in that department, which I think makes sense because it is so there's a huge piece of it that is building maintenance and things like that related to building operations. So I think
Will it report into John Mason, or will it report into the planner?
Greg Nettleman is the DPW director. So John Mason is Parks and Recs.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
No, it's okay. No, but he's great, and I've worked with him a lot for a lot of the climate action plan stuff. So I think it makes sense, but it's going to be a really versatile role. So
Yeah.
department.
Yeah, Connie and I talked to the mayor for a while.
Yeah.
After our
That would
public
be
hearing.
Connie Denham.
What's that?
That would be Connie Denham.
No, you and I talked to the mayor. She was telling us about putting it under the DPW.
Oh, right. Okay.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, she mentioned.
Yes,
it
we did.
formally in our conversation.
That was so long ago.
Made up a new person who was there.
But so they're meeting tomorrow night. So if anyone wants to go, which I know it's wicked short notice, I didn't know either. I might be able to go, but I think I have to go to a bees committee meeting. It's at 6, probably the same time.
So it is at 5:30, I think.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. So we'll see. But
Mayor gone?
I don't know.
Or Muddleman, I mean, somebody who
The
knows.
HR director is going, so she's explaining like, oh, this is how much it would pay. This is the grade it would be, which
Should be a
information that I want.
Formality kind of.
My hope so that they'd
What
be
it
supported.
seems to-
Yeah.
The thought is that it's, the funding is there, the job description's like put together, it, got a home for it at DPW, and so it should be.
Yeah, I don't think it's
relative
gonna be
formality.
something that we need to have someone there to fight for this because I feel like we have a lot of support. So if anyone wants to go, very helpful. If you're welcome to go. And then it still has to go back to city council. So if someone wants to go then, we can figure out when that's gonna be.
Right.
But
Yeah,
so
I'd
that
rather
role,
try to go.
okay, yeah, and that role will be, all these sustainability pieces, like the climate action plan, all this stuff. There will be a separate conservation agent.
And I imagine that position will then become our liaison.
I think that would be, yeah, it would be like.
Yes.
a
The
more-
sustainability.
The sustainability
Yeah.
coordinator would become,
Yeah, that's how I was
They
envisioning.
should be participating with us.
yeah, exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So,
Maybe, maybe that'll cause the DPW to want to get some, somebody from their board or something to work with us. I don't know.
Hmm.
They're reporting up through DPW, but, and here's the mayor or whatever, and we're over here reporting to the mayor. That staff member working with, I don't know, it seems like they might want to involve people more from that side of things.
yeah, I think that'll be.
That's represented right here.
Mhm,
We'll see
mhm.
what happens.
No, I think we could have more internal coordination with them for sure. So that's cool. And
Well,
then,
that's cool.
Yeah.
and then there's the other planning bills that are still open. Right, and those are still going through the process as well of being posted and filled and everything.
Yeah, and for that reason too, I think it makes more sense to be in the DPW so that they can really just get started and not have to be waiting on a department head.
Yeah,
Because I don't know how long that'll take. They could fill it soon, but it's nice to have it be like, nope, that one's really set. And so
okay, great.
Is the description and the pay scale information public yet?
I want to say probably as part of this process, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it's not been officially approved by the city council. I mean, it's not posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess officially, I maybe said earlier it was posted, it's not, because of this. So I don't know how much of it is.
Did you have a look at the job description?
I have not.
Yeah, I ended up making the
We should
job
have had a crack
description.
at the job description.
Yeah, which there might still be time to do so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I mean, before it gets posted, like once the position is
Yeah.
approved, but
Yeah, I will
They
tell.
can play with the job description.
you've seen. a
Yeah,
version?
I helped craft it with Jeff when he was still
Okay.
here, and then I took another crack at it. It was kind of moving fast, so I was like, okay, and we just did it. Just updating it since what I've since had gone through, but there might be another chance to review it again. But also, so for the process for the conservation agent, it's been very helpful with HR. She was happy to have a conservation commission, the chair of that commission attend the interviews and be part of that process and the selection process. So my hope would be the same for the energy advisory committee.
Mhm.
She didn't have to be the chair, it's just anyone who was.
I believe,
available.
yeah, the mayor again, in informal conversations, I can't say this officially, but did indicate that she expected somebody from our committee to be part of the interview process
Huge.
for that, so. Yeah, definitely we want to be.
This is great news.
I know,
Yeah.
it's really.
It's happened
important.
much faster than I thought it was going to.
Same. I
Yeah,
didn't,
it's
I
great.
was worried there's more of a gap, but it's a very popular position. Hopefully it won't take long to fill. I mean, I couldn't say for sure, but I plan to once, I know that there's some resources too, some like listservs that we could get it posted on, even beyond just posting on like LinkedIn and the city website. So I'll make sure Emily has that
But that
info.
group of, you have been going to meetings of other people who are playing the role of sustainability
Yes.
coordinators and climate action plan organizers in their cities. And
Exactly. So yeah,
share it with them at
yeah.
some point if you're still here.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
the zero carbon mass like listserv, which I feel like it's not crazy to post on that. I just
Mhm.
feel like we have a certain opening, maybe you want to move to Western Mass. And
It's like Mass East, do you ever advertise stuff like that?
I
Do they
don't
have something
know.
where they
That's a
would do
good
that?
question. I
I
really
feel like
don't
that
know.
might be something
Yeah.
that they would help promote out there to their community.
I can find out.
Okay, so we'll, if you have the job description you want to circulate, people can look at, if that's possible. Like, send that out or put it in the drive, and we can take a look at it. That we'll just wait and see what happens with the council, wait for the official approval to come through and then posting, and then we'll see where we're involved in that. But again, then there will be a role for us in that process. So. All right, so then do you want to talk about green communities?
Yeah.
And climate leader stuff?
So for 2024 grant proposals and annual report, again, no grant proposals for this year, as far as I can tell, for under green communities. We're doing really good in that regard in terms of municipal building operations. And I've been so focused on the climate action plan, like I just wasn't really able to review it. There will be the second block, I think like in the fall. Can't remember when it is, but they have 2 blocks, and I think the first block is now probably come and gone. But potentially, if you have a coordinator by then, you can explore going after something in the second block.
And that's the October deadline?
I think so. That feels right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You have to see what DOER puts out there for it specifically, but yes, that would be what I would think. But it may make more sense for them to try to go for a climate leader designated stuff. I don't know what stage it will be at. We will have applied though to be a climate leader community.
Right.
So that kind of just rolling quickly into the next piece is the application period is now, used to be that the deadline was July 22nd, 25th, but now it's going to open on July 25th, and then it's rolling after that. They made it rolling for everybody. So we still had a sense of urgency to get these other policies passed and do it so that I can apply before I leave, because I think that'll be important.
So what are we still waiting for?
The only thing we're waiting for is finishing the climate action plan, and then which is very much on the way, and then compiling all the documents together of everything. We got the stretch code passed. I got the documentation related to that. We got the zero emission vehicle policy and documentation for that. The decarbonization roadmap is part of the climate action plan, so that's one of the pieces we're waiting on. And then we have an energy advisory committee, and we're on good standing still for green communities. So just kind of compiling at this point. Right. And what I was waiting on was to reach out to DOER to find out, like, how do you apply? And he said that we haven't really figured that out yet. So we have to, which is fine.
They already have certified members, certified climate leaders.
Not yet.
It's brand new.
First time. So yeah, we would be one of the first, which is really exciting. I think we might be one of the first for Western Mass for sure. Because he's like, no one's applied yet. I was like, yeah, but that makes sense. So I would be surprised if Northampton wasn't going for it and things like that, because I think they meet all the criteria for sure too.
Yeah.
So we don't yet know exactly what we have to do to apply in terms of paperwork.
We do know, it's just how do we submit it? It's either by
Okay.
email or they'll create a portal or
Okay,
something
okay.
that I don't know.
We
But
know the boxes we gotta check off.
Exactly.
Certify.
which is nice. They have guidance for each criteria and what explicitly they want to see. So I feel confident that I can at the very least just compile it all and be like, once they tell you where to hand this in, somebody just needs to hand it in. And so that's up to you guys if someone wants to try to champion that, or if we want to just wait for the coordinator to do that. It's up to y'all. But that's kind of, this is my first one that I'm curious if someone wants to try to be the person to keep tabs on it, assuming if we don't get a coordinator for some time.
Well,
What's your last day?
It's okay. Yeah. August 1st. Yes.
Okay, so
so are we assuming that you will have it all ready and it's just a question of submission? I can do that. As long as you're sure it will be all ready to go.
There's a chance it could be like there's some kind of portal, and then you have to go on this website. And
Yeah,
have it
I can do stuff like
Okay,
that. I
okay.
used to work in special education. I was always doing stuff like that. But I would prefer to have you do the actual
Oh, that's
application.
fair. I don't know. Did you have another question about it? Or?
no, just to see if you'll still be here when they open it on the 25th.
Yeah.
Theoretically. So then you'll have to be able to see, okay, this is what's going to be required. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's simple enough that you'll be able to have it all together and like send it
That's my plan. Is
then
to like,
before you leave.
Yeah.
But if not, then maybe it's just a matter of, okay, we get this one last thing added to the package and send it.
it's more like a contingency. Like if there's some funny thing where DOR is like, no, we're not ready to take it yet. Because I feel very confident I'll be able to submit it by the 25th,
Mhm.
whatever it is. Or certainly before I leave, if I need like a few more days or something, but I don't think I will. So it's more just like if they're like, no, sorry, we need like another month.
Right.
And somebody that needs to submit it after, once they figure it out, who would that person be? Kind of like keeping tabs on that. And then the other piece is after we do submit it, who can I like list as a contact to, so they can
Right.
follow up and let us know if we got it or not, or.
Why don't we
like
do
that.
this? When it happens on the 25th, assuming
Yeah.
that they stick to that deadline and we know then what the mechanism is gonna be, maybe real quick in the, I know your time is gonna be spoken for, but maybe we can find 30 minutes or 20 minutes or something for you and Connie, and I can maybe join too. That way we're not at a quorum or anything like that. We
If,
can,
if you feel more comfortable.
no, I
being
don't,
the-
no, but I think
I
just
don't-
like having multiple hands from our side
Yeah,
might
okay.
be useful.
It's a good idea.
And who would be the contact should we hear after? Cassie's gone.
Right, I mean, I could be the contact, if Connie wants to handle being the submitter, that's fine, I could just be listed as the contact. person
Yeah, I think
for
that
the
makes
interim.
sense. Yeah.
So again, maybe in your last few days, we can just get together real quick during the day.
Yeah.
And just figure out what we need to do if it's more than, something that it's more complicated than we think or whatever, but I
Yeah.
don't anticipate it being.
That sounds good. And just backtracking just slightly for the green communities, the grant proposals in the annual reporting, John and I, we did meet. And I showed him
MEI.
how to be an MEI and what all he needs to know for the reporting, but I feel very hopeful that we would have a coordinator, so you hopefully wouldn't have to do that. But it was cool to show you anyways, because it's
Yeah.
helpful to know what that process is. I think it'll be
Yeah.
important for the climate leader designation stuff, well into the future, so.
But we're talking about like the next time, like you've
Oh,
already
yeah,
done it.
it would be the next annual report, which probably due in October, November of next year. So I'm really excited.
25.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Not
easy,
24.
easy.
No, 24. So the next one will be due.
A few months.
It's kind of a few months.
Okay.
but
Right.
I
That's a few
feel
months, it's
good.
a few
Yeah.
months.
So October, November is usually when the next annual report is due. So in theory, you could start working on it. Now that the fiscal year is over, you could start working on it if you wanted to. I don't know if it's updated on the system, but you could start like compiling the data now. But I usually would do it like, I wouldn't start until like a month before, if that, and it just doesn't take long to compile the information. So
Okay, well, you have a login into the system now
Yeah.
for that. So again, maybe like take a quick look through there if the reporting is actually open. Right, or would it be open at this point?
I don't know, I think it's a little early.
A
I
little
would say like
early.
maybe give it maybe in August.
Okay, is the outline there of like what you need to do
Yes.
for reporting? Okay.
Yeah, it's very
I
like.
took a lot of notes from our sit down.
Right.
I don't remember having a login, but it's probably in my notes.
I was gonna, in my exit memo, kind of list it out really detailedly, so, or in a detailed
If I
way.
don't find
Yeah.
my notes, I will ask.
Yeah.
But
That's easy to do.
Okay, so John, you keep eyes on that. If there's something help you need or like guidance or whatever, you can bring to the next meeting or September meeting or something like that, we can get on how to get that done. It'll be, somebody in place for coming. They're also gonna need, right, they're gonna need some ramp up time before they can just confidently do something like that. So. Okay, so corollary to this, important piece of this, was that the opt-in stretch code was brought to the city council and passed.
Well, I really think that we should be applauding Cassie. You gave a brilliant presentation.
Yeah, that really
You really
was-
did.
yeah.
You really did. And, any concerns that may have been left in anyone's mind was over. I mean, you really handled it so well. Thank you.
Here.
Yeah. Passed unanimously,
Yeah.
great.
Yes,
Oh,
which was
wow.
very exciting.
And word got out very quickly. I think I managed to tell somebody and they updated the map like
Yeah.
in real time while I was on the call with them in the DOER office. So immediately, the map of showing all the towns and municipalities that have adopted the code. So we were in our DOER consultation meeting and we were talking about that because it just happened the night before. And they were like, oh, that's great. And they're like, updated and sent me the link. So we're one of 4 towns in Western Mass that have passed it at this point.
Oh, it's
Northampton, Amherst.
Belchertown? Is it
No, there's another one over around here.
It's not Athol, is it?
No, it's closer by. It's
Oh, well.
Hatfield?
No.
not likely.
like Williamsburg maybe even or something. Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
Later. But anyway, but again, so to the point of like being a climate leader community and one of the first ones in Western Mass, really there's only a couple others that could even think about it right now
Mhm.
until they go through that process. Now in the eastern part of the state, there's a lot more. But great for us to be in the DOER folks. We're very pleased.
Potential next steps with that is that it's effective January of
Right.
next year, I guess, or 2025. And so, maybe I think we have an interim building inspector right now, or building commissioner. So maybe trying to like keep tabs on like who, if to get a permanent one, or making sure they're like kind of prepared for what that is. I don't even know what that would really entail from you guys, or if it is appropriate for you guys to do that, but
Yeah.
if someone wanted to, you could like reach out and be like, but the state needs to make.
Sustainability coordinator.
And the sustainability coordinator.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my just quick next steps, but I don't think anyone necessarily has to take any actions on this board.
Just about the sustainability coordinator, when do you think it's likely that they're going to post that position?
It's hard to say, because it depends on how it goes, how long they meet at the ordinance committee, subcommittee, and then how long they meet at the city council again. And then it's more, I think Emily has to post it and do that.
But it might happen this summer. it
Oh,
sounds
I
like.
think, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
They do know
August.
time, they do know time is of the essence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I definitely have made that clear. I think the hope would be that by the end of August, it'd be.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
When is because when's the next city council meeting? I know they pare down the meetings in the summer, but
Well, that's what I
like
don't
the
know.
full council, I would imagine it would get to them at the next full meeting and then hopefully they would just pass it.
Yeah.
You
And then
know,
hopefully soon after that. So get it posted. But
all right. Awesome. All right, let's move on from there to more fun and excitement here. The climate action plan. I know there's been a lot going on with that, with comments and things being sent back. So you want to give us a quick update where that's at?
right. So I sent you all the comments that we got from the public comment period, which is a good amount of comments. The ones that we did were really detailed, which was really cool. The ones that we did get. And I've been forwarding along like any written comments and things like that I got via email, or folks who called and had questions.
They're all on that Excel sheet, right?
They're all on the Excel sheet. Yeah. So it's all there. And I think it was all, Weston Sampson, was managing that and has been incorporating it if it seemed like it made sense to like make any changes, but anything like super crazy, they would have reached out to us about that. But yeah, they're just really close to being done. I got my last invoice from them essentially, because it would be the remaining funds. I haven't done it yet because I want to get the plan before I do that. But I'm going to meet with them tomorrow morning about what is left, what's needed, and finishing it up. Some of the last needed pieces are a forward from the mayor. So I'm just waiting for her approve that and finalize it. And then Connie, I think you sent something. I didn't get a
I
chance to look
did,
at it.
I have to apologize to everyone because I really
Minutes
dropped the
ago.
ball, but I did start thinking about it today, and I just sent something like as an outline, and I plagiarized, of course, from this one that I really like. But one of the things that the intro is about, it's supposed to be a letter from 25 years from today, and how everything is wonderful because everybody did everything they were supposed to do, and the climate action plan was so fabulous that it just, they just skated through it and got everything done. But one of the things that Arlington did that I thought was really nice was they sort of commented on the things that Arlington is kind of proud of right now. Like, I guess they have one of their teams, I forget which one it is, one of their sports teams, but I put in about our We the People
Saw that.
team
Oh,
because,
good.
that is pretty cool. But I do really, if you guys have any ideas of other things that we might want to put in that Easthampton is, known for or proud of or whatever in that regard, let me know. And then the rest is just, you'll see the outline. It's really just a question of filling it in. I don't think it'll take me that long to do.
No, it doesn't have to be super long.
No,
It's just
but my idea of it really is just that I found it to be such a positive, hopeful little message in there that, what, you guys, this isn't bad news. This is really awesome, good news.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be great. It'll be worth doing.
Yeah.
We're not just going to, it's not going to just gather dust on a shelf somewhere. It's, as many plans do, as we know.
Would it
And
help,
Sorry.
would it help the mayor if she had a draft to work from?
And I worked on one. So she
You
has a
did?
draft
Okay.
from, and I tried to hit on things of how it should be used and how it should be kept up with and things like that. And then highlighting its broad scope and the public support, the public work that's gone into it and things like that. So I tried to hit those highlights of this is the intent of what this is. So, and then of course she will review that and add, change, whatever she
Yeah,
wants. And
I
then,
just didn't know if you needed that.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, I feel good about that. So in terms of when we need to get it by, I would like to submit it with the climate leader designation. So the sooner the better, I guess, that we can get those things.
I'll get
enforced.
that.
Yeah, and I'll meet with the the Western Hampton tomorrow, and then maybe I'll email y'all and be like, okay, let's have it done by the, like, it might even be like the end of this week or something like that.
If we have comments on the letters from us, can't wait until the next meeting, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I think if you would want to do that individually with Connie, like.
Yeah, I
feedback.
can stick it up on, the drive so that everyone can see it. Can I put stuff into our section?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I'll do.
yeah, you can put something in
Okay.
the,
Okay.
yeah, you all are.
Yeah, so do that with a link and then people can go in and like put comments
Yeah.
directly in the document or suggestions. Or.
Yeah, and and feel free. I mean, I won't be sensitive about it. I just sometimes trying to get it done.
Great. Thank you for taking the initiative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then so stuff with like the residence guide, the decarbonization roadmap, that's all just coming as part of the finished product.
Yeah, the residence guide. So because of the decarbonization roadmap, it shifted a little in that, like, they gave me all the materials I need for the residence guide, and then I'm gonna like put it on the city website as one of like the pages on the city website. And then the sustainability coordinator should be like checking that and updating as things change, as needed, which is something we were gonna have to do either way. So a little bit more on my side to like create that, but I feel good about it. I think it'll be fun. I like it. So.
We never saw residence draft.
No, I can send it along. I'm realizing I will send it along. It's all just like kind of,
I mean, we can change it,
Yeah,
I guess, but
yeah.
along the way, but it'd be nice to know what they're putting up.
yep, I will definitely send it to you guys. Hold on. And then it's like ways for people to access other resources to like pursue green changes in their lives. So it's mostly like links to resources,
Right.
but then like a narrative and then the explanation of like what the heck it even is will be in there as well.
Targeted to residents.
Yes,
Not
yes.
businesses.
Yeah, there might be resources in there that are good for businesses too, which is great if we can include. I just don't know how many there are, but I need
Okay,
to like.
That's
yeah.
Edic's job, so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the target is definitely residents in that way.
And the two can be kind of melded together
Yeah.
because
Yes.
businesses, hopefully, a lot of them live here as residences.
Mhm.
So,
Great. Okay, so we'll look for an update after your meeting tomorrow. Then anything else there and any timeline updates and any other input that might be needed. We get everything finalized.
I'm really curious about the roadmap, though, the decarb roadmap. I mean, that was one of the climate leader
Mhm.
tick boxes to tick off to check,
Right.
but it also was problematic exercise to begin with, and one that they didn't really want to do in the beginning. From my sense, because you're kind of grasping at straws a little bit, trying to figure out which, what GHG reductions you're going to get from these various activities and what'll be left, and how to get the rest of them. But is there a high bar in the state for what those things look like? I mean, I think that it's actually described, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very prescribed in the guidance of like what should be in that roadmap. And one of them is really this kind of like trigger event worksheet that is like this spreadsheet that says like on these certain years for each building, this is what things that will happen will be. But for our municipal buildings, we're in a really good place because we've done a lot of those measures. We did the Honeywell
This is only
study.
for municipal.
Yes.
Oh,
Only
that's
for
a horse of
municipal
a different
buildings.
color.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, all right.
Yes, sorry.
No,
But
that's right.
that's the only way that it even approaches making sense to be so specific.
Right.
But it was good
Right,
because
okay.
that's something that we did want, and it's nice that we are kind of laid out how it should be. But we
Okay.
were able to get there partnering with DPW and stuff like that for it to
Okay.
be pretty comprehensive. But it's really important to note, it's not, even if we're gonna use this for a climate leader designation, it doesn't lock us in stone to like take this action at that year. It's just like showing that we are planning for it and
Right.
trying to figure out the way to do it. So it's not like kind of like this big scary thing, like, well, what if the economy crashes and now suddenly DOER is going to make us like retrofit this building in 2034? Like, this is crazy. It's not like that at all. So, and we'll be revisiting our designation every 3 years, which I would imagine involves revisiting that worksheet every 3 years.
All right, we'll move us on to the next piece here. Quick municipal aggregation updates. So the status update is that our public comment period is closed as of a week and a half ago. We had our public hearing. Thank you to those who came and supported that. We had a good turnout in person. We had a few people online as well. We had mostly positive comments and suggestions or questions from people. One or two that were looking to stir things up a
You're
little
looking
bit.
for us to beat down China.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wanted us to deal with China burning coal outside our purview.
Okay.
Yeah,
But we also had
So
that
far.
gentleman from, what was his name?
Hadley.
Who got up and said
Yeah.
that they have had very positive results with theirs and they're saving a lot of money. I think that was huge.
It was great. I
Yeah.
love that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I know
great.
he just showed up on bid.
I know, so nice of him. What was he doing there? Do you know him? Like, what a great guy.
Yeah,
I've gone to the meeting. I spoke with him after the meeting and I've been
Oh,
picking up with him or whatever you want to call it, getting to know him. And I invited me to come to their meeting. Talk to them about what we're doing.
okay.
that's
And,
great.
they seem like they're good people.
What's is it sort of like ours, like a committee?
It's called the Climate Change Committee, which
Yeah.
they're not thrilled about the name, but that's
Yeah.
what they're working with. So,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Tell you more later.
Great. Yeah, so we did the hearing then, was it the next day or 2 days later? We did our consultation with DOER. We were the first municipality with a plan going through sort of a new expanded process of DOER. They were before, I think it was like more perfunctory. They just sort of threw whoever at it. It wasn't really all that comprehensive. But DOER is taking a renewed interest in giving some guideposts or highlighting certain things that they believe are important that they want to see or want to at least encourage municipalities to look at in terms of what they can do with this. And so that maybe using some money to generate renewable energy locally, like to fund a local renewable energy project through the adder, which is something that we could put in there. Or, funding again, like a sustainability coordinator position. And I'm trying to remember what their other priorities were. But essentially, like they were perfectly fine with what we're doing, what we have in there. We explained that we already have the sustainability coordinator position happening outside of that. We explained, our long history of supporting renewables here locally, that we're probably not in a position right now to really plan to, get money to develop a new solar project like, ourselves. But that's something that we might look at or might encourage in a partnership down the road. But anyway, the DOER had a ton of people on the call, and they were all really supportive and happy to talk and help. And I think we came out of that in a good place. And
Did you say that we were the first ones to go through the new process?
yeah, the first one, the
Wow.
expanded DOER. So again, they had like a bunch of people on there, including Chris Mason
Excellent.
and some of the other
We
regional
get to know
folks who were
Chris
just
Mason pretty well.
yeah, and they had some of the other folks who were doing other regions because they just wanted them to be a part of like this new process and see how it goes.
It's expanded and also fast tracked, right?
Well, that's DPU. So
Oh, that's the other-
yeah. So DOER was always it's just a milepost on the way, essentially. So now DPU is yes. So the exciting thing is that the DPU guidelines that we worked with Good Energy and lots of other municipalities to put together to encourage DPU to make this more streamlined, to allow for more changes without having to go through a whole rescreening process every time you want to do one thing. And DPU has approved those.
That's such great
basically with exactly what Good Energy and others were asking for. So that means that the submission and approval process is much more streamlined. The hope is that it should be 120 days to review only from the time that we submit. And
To DPU?
to DPU, yeah. So the plan is undergoing now, some minor updates based on public comment, just based on the new DPU guidelines. I mean, it was already planned for anyway, but they're just doing some minor updates and they're thinking that we're probably ready to submit it by the end of this month. Which means that we could have an approval from DPU for the end of the year. And which means that we could then be going out to bid next year probably to see what comes back. And to actually get that up and running. So yeah, it's tantalizingly close. We cleared basically the major hurdles other than the DPU piece, but again, don't anticipate a lot of trouble or pushback there. again, good engineers, well rehearsed and well vetted with doing these things. So, I don't anticipate too many roadblocks with that. But again, new DPU guidelines will be there first time, testing them out, trying to figure out how to make it work. I'm sure there's probably some other municipalities that have been waiting for a long time that are hopefully going to clear the path for us a little bit with that. But we shall see.
Public comment was there besides what the hearing?
There were a couple. There's some stuff that they sent to me. It's like a 2-page PDF, couple emails and things. Again, it was mostly supportive and just like nothing bad. That is in a document I just uploaded before this meeting into the municipal aggregation folder on the drive. So feel free to go in and take a look at that.
This is a side note, but I tried to look at it today on the Easthampton website, and it's you have to really hunt for it. It's not like
On the Easthampton
city
government-
website.
Okay.
Yeah, like I expected that if I scrolled down, I would see the link, and it's not there. So
Okay. It's on the Energy Advisory Committee page. There's a link to it
Okay.
from there.
I mean, I typed it. I mean, I found it, but I'm just thinking
Right.
it would be nice if people could just go on the first page and then
Yeah.
scroll down and have the link be right there instead, because a lot of people won't know to go to the Energy Advisory Committee.
Right. Well, once we have something more like the actual plan done, and like that'll be, I mean, there's already the website that exists for it
Right,
too.
yeah,
And we'll certainly highlight that, and we'll get, that to figure out how to put
Yeah.
that. There'll probably be something a little more prominent on the website.
yeah, that I just think that's gonna be important.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
No, that's good feedback. Yeah, easthamptoncommunityelectricity.com. Anytime you want to go see what's up there. But again, right now it's just the draft plan, I believe. All right, so that's it for that. Heat pump pilot program, another
Yeah,
busy piece of the agenda here.
yeah, they're getting there too. So this is the project that we have with DOUR and Mass CEC and Northampton. And so we've been going through the interview process. They put it out to bid, RFP for people to apply to manage the heat pump program between the two communities. And we're meeting tomorrow to review. We've done the interviews. So we're meeting tomorrow to discuss which ones we want or who we want to choose. I think hopefully we can narrow it to someone at that meeting tomorrow. That's what I was anticipating. But I don't know. I sent you all the materials. I know, John, thank you also again for attending all the interviews. I think it was
definitely.
really
Thank you, John.
helpful. And you submitted your comments as well, which is also really helpful. I missed one of them. So I only saw, I think it was block power in Laminar.
Homeworks.
Not Homeworks is the one in the middle. So, it's hard for me to say who would be the right choice because I don't have much background in this or experience of like how they execute it. I don't think that we could make a wrong choice. I think they would all likely be a good
Yeah.
choice. And I think, I don't know. Did anyone else get a chance to watch or read any of that? It's okay. if you didn't.
No, I haven't either. And I read through some of the original applications, and it's just a lot. It's a lot to digest.
I read some of the applications too, but so what do you think, John?
I agree that we probably couldn't go wrong. I think maybe the Homeworks and Block Power are a little bit of a level over Laminar Collective, which is a fairly young organization, and some of them just shining off their BAs and stuff, but they're energetic and smart. They've got anyway, they have an unusual kind of position in the industry too. That's not like the other ones. They kind of they're like a broker, almost like they act like a broker. They do have some community relationships like in Cambridge, but they're more of they go out and look, monitor pricing out there and then try to put together bulk orders to get good deals for customers by getting 700, or 70 heat pumps or something at a time.
Okay.
Anyway, they're the least I think they were the least experienced and had the least confidence in them. But yeah, Block Power, my inclination is just go with what in Homeworks and in Massachusetts, they're well established. Although Block Power is linked in with Revise, which is an experienced local. They're trying to do the co-delivery, so you have a company that might focus more on home energy assessments and not do so much of the HVAC, like the heat pump installations. And so Block Power's linked up with Revise, who's done heat pumps.
Okay.
Homework's done them both. But they were good in the interview. Didn't you think the Block Power rep, were you the, yeah, you were there. The Block Power, the guy from Block Power, the top level person from New York, he was incomprehensible.
Oh, really?
It was terrible.
I don't know if I was there. I
On the
think
other
that's what I
hand,
meant.
their field rep
Yeah,
in Revise is the blue collar guy in his, hanging out in his truck, still going to the meeting from his truck. He was amazing.
okay.
He knows everything, and he
I
knew how to
just
talk
missed
with people. And
I don't understand why Revise isn't just applying independently. I don't understand that. It confuses me.
also, sorry.
Well, I don't know. You might be able to answer this better than me, but like, it seems like some of them, it's like the management side and the heat pump side, and the other ones are the weatherization and like the other.
Community
addition.
partnerships. I
Yeah,
think there's these,
Yeah.
Hallmarks have been involved in community partnership. Block Power is very big in community partnerships,
In New York,
running campaigns all over. Yeah, but a lot of places, not just
Yeah.
all over the
Yeah.
country. Not so much in Massachusetts.
did you see the reviews online about Block Power? I'll send them to you.
What do you mean, like,
There were some reviews that were not
under their
terribly
website?
complimentary.
Like,
No.
Business Bureau stuff?
Definitely not under the website. I sent it
yeah,
to you.
you did, yeah. So I don't you think is valid if
Yeah.
any information you all find
But-
outside about
Yeah.
what people have experienced with them, but
Bottom line is I trust Meg Howard, is it Meg?
yeah.
Meg Howard and Ben
CC.
Wheel and Chris Mason. They know their shit, and they want this to work, and they're listening to us, but they know this business better than
Yeah.
anybody. So like,
I ultimately agree with you,
Right.
but
Yeah.
like whatever, I was kind
Yeah.
of leaning toward whatever they think is the right choice. I agree. I mean, they have the bigger stake in the project, as it were, in that there's more people that they're gonna be serviced on their side just because of the division and the populations of the bucket of money we have. So I plan to say at our meeting tomorrow is that I will make a little push for Laminar, only in that they had the highest amount of money directly to their residents, which the cost was the biggest piece. And they
Right,
had, I liked their approach of doing this kind of ordering and buying in bulk to pass the savings on to the people who would have to install them. They seem to have a good focus on getting the money to the residents, which I really liked that. Because that, again, when we talked to people, they were saying that was the biggest barrier, was just the cost, upfront, not even just rebate, like the upfront cost. So, that really is important to me. But it's true, they were like less experienced, like they had this really cool website that people would use to apply that would make it a lot easier to guess how much it was gonna cost for people to go. But that website like was just created, like as far as I could tell, that tool was like brand new. So they're just really new. So and it's like, oh, they're promising these really awesome things, but is it too good to be true? I just don't have the experience to say.
Well, I mean,
It's hard to
but
know.
then is a pilot program like the right place for that
Yeah,
though?
right,
Right? If you let's
exactly.
try it out. Yeah, I mean, I do like the idea of like, the most money going to incentives, like directly offset the cost of this rather than covering somebody's overhead. I mean, you want to be,
Yeah.
people to be able to pay and like, have a good staff people working on this.
there's two sides to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the money, money's a factor, but also running the gauntlet for the customer, figuring out how to put the contractors together and understand the bureaucracy and the paperwork. That's critical. And if you don't have a good track record or knowledge of that system, then
Right.
all the money you hand them might not really
Yeah.
compensate for that.
Oh, yeah, really good point.
They did have, Laminar was teamed up with a very established Clear Result.
Right.
Because they're
Oh,
partners,
yeah,
so
okay.
they're well established in
Yeah, yeah.
Massachusetts.
Who
They
are
know
they?
DOER,
Who are they
DOR,
partnered with?
Clear Result,
So
They
they
handle,
did my home energy assessment.
they handle,
Like
they handle all the payments for net metering or something, I think, through Eversource. I mean, they're really in the
Okay.
middle
No,
of
that's
the
good to
state.
know. Yeah. So again, I mean, yeah, I'll trust the judgment of those that have been working on the front lines with this. But I do think that, yeah, there's a couple different components, right? It's like a new approach to things might be interesting, like, to breaking out of the mold of like the home energy assessment and efficiency weatherization stuff and like, what's the outreach look like, right? How do they actually reach people? How do they get people engaged and excited about this? And then, right, the implementation, like the actual ability to deliver, and how much, I think maximizing the amount of money that's going towards incentives to offset, like doing more of these projects is great too. you're not gonna be able to maximize all four of those things necessarily, but like, I think those are the key pillars to build this on. And again, because, for my hope with this is, we've always known it's a limited pot of money, it's gonna run out and, however long it runs out. But like, this is where, like, as a climate leader community thing, maybe as a grant, you can then go and say, hey, we've been doing this, it's been really successful, we'd like to continue doing it. And we'd like to, and again, maybe if Northampton's also a climate leader thing, we can go, stick with them and say, hey, let's go and apply for this, and let's get another pot of money from the state that we can use to keep this program going.
Right.
So that would be my hope, because then again, you've got direct, greenhouse gas reduction that you can point to for every one of these things that gets installed, essentially, right? So it's easy to sort of quantify that and like result of that. So that's my high level goal to next phase of this. So
Are you looking for a project manager for this?
That was my next question. Like, is there anyone who's willing to keep tabs? If there's a gap between the sustainability coordinator, because this one really critically, we should have someone at the table for Easthampton being there and like kind of be keeping keeping tabs and taking notes to pass it along to the sustainability coordinator when the time comes. But if someone's willing to do that,
I haven't been carrying my weight during the Northampton budget season. So if you can spare time to get me up to speed, I will do that, unless you wanted to do it, John.
I'll help you.
Okay.
I'll help when you need it, whatever. And I am interested. I want to just mention that I followed up on Connie's suggestion about checking in with the Heat Smart Alliance, and they've done their 6-week training thing. Or whatever, and I spoke with this guy, Bob Zog there, who's the recruitment person for Heat. They work with, I don't know, there's 20 or 30 communities they've got, or 30 something they've got members in, and what they're trying to do is rather than go directly to the customer, they're trying to train municipal committees and task forces or teams to help do what we're having the consultant do, where we can pick up the pieces, what's left when the consultant's done with their work. But he got me to talk with Eric Broadbank in Northampton.
I was just
He was very enthusiastic,
him.
and
Is he the new guy? Is he the new guy?
No,
He's
he's not the
just a resident.
sustainability.
He's-
He's not the sustainability person. No.
But they really, really want to get something together with all of the communities in the area, like have it really be powerful.
Yeah. So, but what Eric was wondering was whether there was some way we could shadow, in a sense, shadow some of the consultants on this project and
Not a bad idea.
learn about it and, work in some training of our own people somehow. And that might have to be some extra pot of money from somewhere, or unless they just want to do it because they want to butter us up and, sow goodwill. I don't know, but,
You mean pay them to let us
Because-
shadow them? What do you mean?
train us, help us train. Well, there's Heat Smart Alliance and they have trainings, and they don't have one maybe till the fall. They have some online thing, but it's a pretty simple thing online. It's not serious training, I don't think. But what are you gonna say?
you're talking about this is like sort of like from an energy coach sort of standpoint,
Yeah.
or something like that, where somebody would be able to be
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, probably with a focus on heat pumps, but
Right.
knowing the background on home energy, getting some background home energy assessments, blow door tests, sealing, insulation, that stuff.
Yeah. I didn't finish their course. I couldn't finish it, but I did take several of them, and it was a live one, although it was online. And they reiterated over and over again that they don't expect the consultants at our level to be able to tell people, this is what you should get, this is how you should do it. It's more a question of just having the basic overall knowledge so that you can go into someone's house and say, okay, from what I know, this is likely to be what you're going to be told you need to get. And here are the steps that you're going to need. And also let me explain how heat pumps work. It's like really basic stuff that a lot of people really don't have. And there was a lot of discussion about the realities of existing buildings and heat pumps. Not all buildings are configured in such a way that you can put in 2 heat pumps. you know, and there was a lot of discussion about the realities, especially old buildings and what exactly it would mean. You'd have to put in some fans. And, you know, it would be good if someone could talk to people about some of those realities. Like, it's great you want to do heat pumps, but let me just give you a little information here. You may find that like this space is not really ever going to get too hot or too cool. That's just the reality for you, you know, that kind of stuff too.
When the consultant is chosen, or whoever's going to run the program, do you know, is there a plan for them to then do sort of like a kickoff with, say, like Northampton, Easthampton, that maybe we can attend, that would start to, you know, like, hey, we can be the first, you know, the first level people starting to funnel people towards you here, right? We're going to be out talking to people. Tell us how, you know, how you want to pitch this kind of thing. Like, give us the talking points that they want to use when they're going out into the public, right? So that we can be credible sources. I mean, that's with the first level. It's not as comprehensive as like going through a full course load or whatever, but if we can hear from them directly, like what they want to do, how they're going to do it, and like what their talking point about it would be useful.
I think definitely that would be a thing that would be expected, to do some kind of kickoff meeting between Northampton and Easthampton and all the parties, with whoever it is that's ultimately chosen. And I will say that my impression from all of those interviewees was that they are very happy and willing to share all the data, all the information that they gather with the city, and be like, yes, this is your information to use. However, if we wanted to keep going, or
That's two parts to that. One is that I think they promised quarterly meetings.
that too.
With the client, which we could be represented at.
Yeah, that's built into
You
the
or whatever, they come to us. And the other is that they really all seemed to believe in tapping municipal knowledge about the community to find the customer, to find the people. There's different approaches. You know, you'd think they'd try to hone in on low and moderate income and, you know, put the blinders on for everybody else. But at least two of the more experienced ones said they believe in this funnel approach, which is you go out and do 1,000 home energy assessments. Some of them are promising to knock on every door in Easthampton. 1,000 home energy assessments, and from there you pull in and narrow down and identify the people who would be the targets in this program. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Is this program going to have is there a plan that any apartments, like 2 families, 3 families, will be part of it?
That seemed to be like, there was a goal to try to hit landlords and get landlords involved where possible and as much as possible. Cause that's like, it's an interesting group and it needs to be addressed, like how to help them.
And those are also much more difficult, unless it's like if it's like an old 2-3 family building, those are the really tough ones to change over to heat pumps too.
Weren't they limited? Thought it was somehow limited to 3 units and under.
There was something, I don't know if they were limited.
4 and under.
4 and under,
Whatever.
whatever.
Above that, it becomes like a multi-family.
Right.
housing, and that's like
Something
another-
else.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because like the income, there was like it's not like the lowest income. We're trying to hit this kind of middle income group.
65% of the median income.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
will be, but there certainly was an emphasis on landlords and renters and trying to hit those groups. So not just convert as many single family homes. It's like, how many of those can we get to be landlords?
And also, like, what would the criteria be for a landlord?
There was no miraculous pronouncements by any of the consultants when asked about how to deal with the split incentive. That for a landlord getting the equipment and then charging more for rent, or, you know, the landlord benefits, but they're charging them the same amount for the utilities, and how do you work that? Nobody had any great answers about that.
Yeah.
There was one company that talked about, at least one talked about trying to write it into, I don't know how they do that. It's a contingency on you getting your check or something. Is that no rent increases for a year?
Right.
Was one approach. I don't know where the legal basis for that is.
Well, yeah, I worry about that more in a bigger program, right? Right now, what we're trying to do, it's like,
right.
Let's get it off the ground.
Right.
That's a good problem to have.
That's a portion
kind of thing. So.
We'd be looking at them.
We're not alone in trying to fix that problem. So
That's a problem. It's as old as weatherization programs themselves, you know.
But it would be really great if this was an impetus for us to start collaborating more with Northampton on some of these programs and issues. It would, you know, instead of always reinventing the wheel,
Right.
it would be great.
really cool.
Yeah, no, I like that approach, right? It's great that, we've got lumped in with them in this case. I think it could bear fruit for sure. And again, it gives us more leverage to go out and get more money potentially.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I guess maybe Kathy and John, we can try to set up our own little separate meeting to talk about this after I meet with them tomorrow at some point before I leave, just to be like, okay, this is
Yeah.
we're leaving it off and things like that. And like I said, I'll make an exit memo, but if you're willing to kind of champion it, I appreciate it. Or keep tabs on it, I should say.
All right. And just when we thought we hadn't had enough excitement, school bus electrification.
I get a
Got even more updates coming from this.
I just went
There
back
was a response to you today, I think right before the meeting, I think.
From the-
just before. Yeah, I think he said it was okay with him.
Wait,
All right, so what happened, I'll go back to square one. I had gone to that, you had known about that. I had gone to the release through email we talked about. I had gone to the school committee's working session, which is not their finance committee, it was the co-committee, but it was their working session somehow, I don't know. Not the
Or-
same public requirements and recordings and stuff to talk about.
to talk
the
about
school bus,
oh,
electric
wow.
school buses, and you know, it was a completely different scenario than going to that FinCom, you know,
Mhm.
year, whatever it was ago, last September.
Mhm.
They were, you know, jumping all over it essentially and saying, okay, one of us will be the transportation liaison to the school department and to us. At first looked like it was going to be Megan Harvey, but in the end it turned out to be this Sam Hunter. So they said they had to go and formalize, in this meeting, they said we have to wait till our next meeting to really formalize this and get it settled. And then I just heard from Megan Harvey, 2-3 days ago, when she mentioned, bless you, right?
Me.
Okay. When she mentioned Sam Hunter would be the transportation liaison. And so I wrote Sam and said, I'm available later this week or next week to sit down and give you some background and talk about what next steps might be, and copied Nick Bernier, the business manager who manages that stuff for the school department. And he said, well, I'm end of budget season, I'm going on vacation, can this wait? And I just said, well, I just want to get this person get them up to speed, talk with them about what's involved, no decisions.
Right.
I hope we can do this, and then later on, he wanted the superintendent to be in on the meeting.
Involved, right? She's out of the
Yeah,
country.
she has some thoughts about it or whatever. So maybe in July and August, I'll meet with Sam, hopefully a couple times, and give them, share information and documents and whatever they need. And then maybe whenever they get back, September, late August, September, start talking with Nick and the superintendent.
Right.
Was she the one who used to be the Worcester school system?
Yeah. So you signed on for one more year now.
She'll have she'll have some lot of know-how about school transportation stuff, because Worcester went through a major transformation, and I think while she was there,
Okay.
they took over the bus
Oh, really?
operation publicly from a
Oh,
private
wow.
contractor, yeah, and built a monstrous facility. I think they have some grants now too for electric buses.
Cool.
Okay.
So
So
that's,
yeah, and Nick said that was fine to get the introductory conversation going. Yeah, we don't need to wait to.
Wait, Nick? Who's Nick?
Nick Bernier, the business
Oh,
manager.
Nick, I thought.
And I want to support, I want to be in a support role for them.
Yeah.
I'd rather not be dragging them everywhere and still doing the work. They need to own this, and I will give them whatever support I can, but
Yeah.
hope.
John,
Well, that's what we're gonna-
congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, my God, this is huge.
Yeah, having a liaison on the school committee who's like
2 years since
actively,
we started on it.
I mean, just right, but getting them to say, hey, we're gonna have a transportation liaison,
Yeah.
we're gonna designate somebody to actually
Yeah.
focus on that and be a person with us and
Yeah.
with Nick and the superintendent and everybody else, like
And
that's.
right about the time that we were going to them, there was a thing in the paper about Holyoke getting
Yeah.
Durham to work with them. So they've broken the ice, opened the door about crack, I think.
Yep.
I think they're working with Highland too.
Highland's probably involved. I think that was
To
right.
supply the capital and the financing for them.
Right.
But Durham's getting their feet wet with this, and that might help us.
Good.
That's good news.
Kudos to you. You did not give up. I'm
Well,
beyond impressed,
thank you. We'll see. It's a long way to go.
but
It is.
still,
It's
you
hard.
have
It's an
come a
intent-
long way.
It's an intention to
Everything
make
on
an
this
effort.
agenda is, the same story, it starts one time and then we just keep marching forward, so. No, it's great that, and I know, cause we, just a couple months ago, you're at a point of like major frustration thinking it wasn't gonna go anywhere,
Yeah.
like stonewalled. And, as it turned out, we were able to get past that, so.
Yeah.
That's important and good, and something else that, again, sustainability leader on the
Yeah.
town,
Yeah.
town payroll will hopefully again,
Yeah.
help us champion and help figure out ways to make things work and that sort of thing too, so. All right, great, well, so yeah, if you want me to be involved in, when you meet with Sam, I'm happy to be a part of that, if you just end up having a conversation.
Let you know. Let me know.
Yeah, let me know what's happening with that. I look forward to an
Yeah.
update.
Yeah, I mean, school committee fairly well too, so.
Yeah, Sam's like the one person on the committee I don't know if I've ever met directly in person,
Yeah.
so. Awesome. Anything, okay, so I've got a couple things on here for new and other business. One is another in-depth thing that John did around solar sighting. I just threw it on there. It's not something we have anything like directly.
No action item.
John,
Not an
you
action
work
item.
wicked
He's
hard.
been,
I
don't know where he's going.
I retired and I now have a second full-time free job. No pay.
yeah, but John did a really deep dive into where solar is located across the state, especially large projects, and sort of mapping that against usage to see like who's providing more solar than proportionally, and who's sort of taking more, and sort of viewing that through the lens of some of this pushback that we get or that we see from people around things like farmland, about forests, about like we don't want that here because it's going to desecrate our pristine land or whatever. And what you see, we've certainly seen in a few areas like there's some pushback on that sort of thing. And we've, even a couple of years ago here, we were having some informal discussions of committee that was like talking about like a solar ordinance that would codify where things could happen or where they couldn't. But anyway, I mean, do you want to summarize kind of
Things maybe, but, well, first of all, the ordinance, I think, was just put in mothballs. It wasn't decided against, right? It was
No, it
kind of
wasn't decided
mothballs. We're
against.
waiting for that state decision on the.
Correct,
And
yeah.
is that
just-
ever
Tracer lane decision
resolved?
on whatever town that was.
Did that ever get resolved?
Yeah.
Well,
it was all
they
in favor of
issued
the
a decision
developer.
and the town lost.
Yeah.
Their zoning was too restrictive and a lot of other stuff's been thrown back at towns by the Attorney General, I think, before it gets to the courts. On the other hand, there's this push, there's a push to get rid of that law. I don't think that's going anywhere. That basically says you can't unreasonably restrict solar siting in a community unless you can make a case that has to do with public health and safety. So I finally looked at the map, and if I understand the map that went with our ordinance, there's very little land in this city that would cut the mustard with our ordinance. And sometimes some communities just aren't set up to have it. And we have a lot of conservation land. We have a lot of water bodies that have wetlands associated with them. So it made me think, a little bit of an aside, but it made me think to start talking with owners of like Eastworks. And I mean, you have acres of rooftop in some of these,
Absolutely.
it's expensive, but anyway, that might be the way Easthampton has to go. Anyway, so, some of the numbers, the two bit general things that I came up with running some of these numbers from, there's a state database of all the solar that's been installed, 3.5 gigawatts of solar since the beginning of the SMART program and in the last 15 years, really. And,
Public or private or both?
everything, everything.
Like even my
Everything.
house.
My
Rooftop,
house
including, you're on there. If you got solar, you should be on there, yeah. It won't have your name. If you have a third party owner, it'll list the third party owner. There's a couple different databases. The one that they have called production tracking system. It names the installer, manufacturer, the type or whatever, size of the, system, but it doesn't talk about names.
and web addresses.
There's another one though that I found that did have another database they have that does actually have people's names in it. Anyway, what am I getting at? So I went through that and, there's been complaints about the western part, the forests and farmlands of Western Mass having to bear all the burden. And so far, of all the solar that's been installed, Franklin County has they're bearing 3% of the weight of the solar that's been installed in the state, and they have 9% of the land. If you look at how much land you have available,
Right.
that to me is irrelevant. There you can look at population too. Worcester and Berkshires are a little bit, strained. Worcester is 20% of the state's land area, the county, but they got 34% of the solar that's been installed so far. This is
Interesting.
rooftop and land. Berkshires has 12% of the state's land area and 5% of the
Solar.
solar burden, if you want to call it that. But the other thing that I looked at is what do we consume in Western Mass for electricity? And you can take statewide figures and then just prorate them per capita here and say, well, so much per capita, this is how many people, this is how much we'd be consuming electricity. And there might be a way to get it through Eversource the way our consultant did, but it'd be a big job. But just do it per capita. I did 2 levels, like average to the state, and then I assumed 2/3 of that because maybe we don't use as much as the urban areas and
We
suburban.
may use more on a per capita basis.
We might,
Small
but-
living spaces and whatever.
But looking at what we're generating from solar, hydro, gas facilities, all those, anything that generates electricity in the 4 western counties, versus what we're consuming. We're not so far generating more than 1/3 from these numbers I put together, 1/3 of what we consume.
Mhm.
So let's not, be bitching about Eastern Mass, Eastern Mass, we're doing this for Eastern Mass. People say we're gonna put up a solar farm and it's gonna serve what Eastern Mass and Boston, it's not for us. Well, we haven't become self-sufficient yet. And the grids don't have little names on them about where the electrons go, it goes into a system. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's the general gist of it.
Well, and another key piece that that definitely factors into this, and not only you'd be able to drill down into, where can the grid accommodate these large scale things? And again, where is that electricity needed? I mean, what's your more population based, more,
Right.
electrical nodes for things to plug into. There may be a lack of those. And so it could be like a bigger infrastructure issue out here, which is
Right.
like, well, we just don't have the places where you can put a 5 megawatt with the capacity. Otherwise you have to upgrade all these other services in order to be able to do that.
Right.
Where there's too much on this circuit already. Right. I mean, we're starting to see that, I think, in some places where they're just, you want to do solar? Oh, we got to upgrade this whole thing. And that's going to cost $50,000 to be able to expand the transformer here or whatever else we got to do. So that's a side issue to all this is is part of that limitation just because developers are looking, oh yeah, we'd love to put stuff here, but we're not going to get an interconnection agreement because the utility doesn't have the capacity to take it on here.
I think it often comes down to just whether the developer is willing to pay for what they,
Yes.
the extra cost.
Oh, right.
Say anything, whatever on up to the substation, including a substation, actually, if you have to build a new one
Right.
or to support a big solar farm, that's the developer has to pay that. So they kind of make the calculation about whether they can work it in their business model to add all that infrastructure to connect to the to the grid.
Right, and then there's gonna be this, competition with electric vehicle infrastructure and more, things that are needed for that as well. And so that's, we've talked about that a bunch, and it's all, it's interesting puzzle to think about. It's really much harder to unravel, like, how do you actually figure, how do you get all this capacity on there? How do you handle all of it? How do you, who's responsible, right? Is it, private developers? Should it municipalities? Should it be like a larger, state and federal government programs or ones? I mean, the answer is all the above in the end, but,
Do they ever think about just putting it on both sides of the Mass Pike and just like solar
PVs?
installations?
I think they're
It seems
doing,
like-
oh, solar.
Quite a bit already.
There's some-
Yeah, there's some.
I know there are some, but it seems like that's such an obvious place. I mean, we're not used to that
That's
land.
farmland
Crashing
that people want.
into.
Well, no, I don't mean like literally next to, but like if you drive out on the Mass Pike, there's, the buffer
Yeah.
land is empty. I don't know. It just
yeah,
seems
I mean,
like
there may
obvious
be
place
stuff
to put
that
it.
some of that,
The state's looking at those sites.
I think they are, yeah.
I think they are. I mean,
Yeah, but
you
you're
know,
seeing
they gotta be
somebody-
facing in the
That's so
right
close,
direction.
people might run into.
I know, I
them.
agree.
Because you're seeing so much of it already.
you are.
Yeah.
And there could be other issues about how, when there's neighborhoods or housing that's close to it,
Yeah.
that you can't cut back on trees or other barriers. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
You have to be able to get at it. I
Yeah.
mean, unless they're gonna make a whatever you call it, a ramp off the highway to it,
Right.
they've gotta have, it's gotta not be in the middle of the woods. There's gotta be a road somewhere nearby they can
Good point.
drive in and bring, construct it and then hook it up. So
Yeah.
I think they're looking at it. This is the kind of stuff that be not business decision items that we can get in trouble for. We can talk about over beer or whatever.
You're right.
That's true too.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, with all the things you did, you shared your work with a bunch of other folks. I saw on that email that you sent. Is there any other feedback or anything that would come back to us that we would want to discuss or do at this point, or just kind of keep it?
I don't think so. The committee, the Hadley Climate Change Committee, is really curious about our climate action plan process. They said they had trouble, one of them had trouble pulling it down off of the website, so I'm gonna try that and check it, but, and, they have interest in some of the similar things, initiatives that we're doing, and they got some good people, Michael Doctor. He was the original food bank farm in Hadley, really well-known farmer, and one of the original food bank people there. Food bank farm, he's on their committee. This guy who came to our municipal aggregation, Jack Chakowski, or something, I say his last name. He's good. I mean, they would like to collaborate with us. I said, I'll talk with you guys about long run, trying to maybe have periodic get-togethers or trade people coming to each other's meetings to kind of
I think
share
that's such a good
information
idea.
and,
Because there's so many things that we sort of feel like we can't do because we're so small, and it makes so much sense if we collaborate with the other communities in this area, because we all are struggling with the same issues.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great idea.
Yeah. To tie it back into the aggregation piece for a second too, though, a thing where if we did at some point want to take on, maybe some sort of municipal like solar project that we wanted to like generate money for through the aggregation program, if we identified an opportunity somewhere down the road that, the aggregation program is something that we could use to help fund that potentially. So if there, whether it's a mill building or something that would benefit from our involvement, or something that the city just identifies, like we could do this.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in our back pocket. That would be, cool. It's definitely something I'd love to be able to do, right? With the aggregation program, just like collect that partial cent on every earnings bill and just like aggregate that towards something.
any idea how much could be involved money wise?
I mean, we can set an adder for whatever
No
we
one drops out and everyone, half a cent or 1/10 of a cent or whatever on there.
Yeah, I mean, a 10% is not gonna get you all that much, but
Yeah.
you can look at like 0.5% or something. I don't know. We'll have to see.
That's pretty much take our numbers from the climate action plan for kilowatt consumption in the city and multiply it by that number. And there's
Yeah, although we already know that I think Good Energy already knows like how many other folks are opted out or in the third parties already. I think we're only at about 50% that's going to be going to the aggregation plan right off the
Oh, that
bat.
many have already.
Maximum, yeah, because a lot of like large energy users in terms of like kilowatt hours, right? They're going to have a third party.
So you'd have to pull them in somehow. We'd have to pull them into our program for that to happen.
Right, and they could.
That might happen down the road.
Yeah, but if we're getting good, good pricing, they could take advantage of that. That may be an option. The other thing is continuation, and I don't have a full update on this because I finally got back to a woman from Sunwealth, who's a community solar program developer and implementer that was interested in trying to get some Easthampton residents like for their program recruited into their community solar program. I think, are they the one that's specifically with the low income carve out for some of these? Yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah. And I met with the woman back a couple months ago.
She's the one who came and spoke.
She came and spoke virtually once, and then I met with her in person. And yeah, so that they've partnered with some other towns. She actually said they gave me some literature here. Well, they work with the city of Cambridge and some other places here. So authority. So anyway, they've worked with other municipalities. I still don't know exactly what the mechanism would be for us to get like approval for them to advertise and try, but basically they want just kind of like, a partnership so that they can go out and target local people here for some of their projects. I was maybe gonna try to meet with her before this meeting. She was out on Friday. My day filled up today, so hopefully gonna talk to her
So
tomorrow or Wednesday.
how would this work with our aggregation program?
It's good question. It basically, community solar is separate. It basically, you pay for it and you get a credit on your electric bill for it. So it wouldn't, if they're still in the aggregation program, anything that they're paying for on their bill is gonna come from the aggregation program. And the community solar is just gonna offset it, essentially.
Okay, so they can participate in both.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
just
I-
like having solar in your house, not gonna affect your ability to create an aggregation.
Got it.
It's all works the same way. Community solar is just, it's panels that you're getting energy from, they're located somewhere else and not just directly on your roof. Yeah, but you just said something that made me realize what I was gonna tie this back into. So outreach around not really aggregation, but things for like the residents guide and the climate action plan, or outreach around the heat pump pilot program. Like if we were to have something like this as an option, right, as a partnership that we were doing, there's another piece of like things that we could use to give people options of stuff that they can do. Right, so the heat pump program may be appropriate for everybody, or not for everybody, but like community solar may be more appropriate for certain people, or for renters. Again, it's something that renters can do.
And you wouldn't have to get a new roof.
And you don't have to
too.
get a new roof. That's right. Yeah, it's a whole thing, right? It's better for a lot of people to buy into a large program.
Interesting.
There's scale involved. It's like, it's cheaper to implement these than it is to like a one roof at a time sort of things. There's lots of things that to recommend community solar.
And are they trying to do an installation somewhere out here?
Well, I think they have some already.
Oh,
And they may be looking at doing another one, but this is, I think they've got some that are maybe even being built. I'm trying to remember. Taking better notes. Yeah, they would be looking to fill out because they've got subscriptions to sell, basically. And so, targeting our residents.
Need to know,
To do that.
no down payments, just you're paying a certain rate on your bill.
Yeah.
I know there were some of them started, maybe it's a different kind. When I lived in Rocky Hill co-housing, 10 units, 10 families got together, and I mean, I don't know if it was even considered community solar, but they bought it, they paid for it together,
Okay.
and there's 1 meter
Yeah.
on the system. It's a canopy over the parking lot.
Yeah. I've
1
seen
meter
that
on the
there,
system,
yeah.
and then people just according to how much they use in their house meter, get the benefits from that.
Right.
Yeah. Why am I asking? I mentioned that. Oh, it's just some of those kind of arrangements, you got to put up capital,
Right.
but this is just,
This is just like, you just opt in
just
and
pay,
you
it's
start
a
getting.
customer. Somebody
yeah.
else is borrowing the money to install it. Yeah.
Exactly. That's already been done, right? You're just getting the energy from it.
Could businesses do it too?
Yeah, usually
Because I've
there's
been trying to think of things that a business would need to accomplish to get certified or whatever.
yeah, that's a good question. I think the answer is yes. A lot of these are targeted at residents, these programs. It's because a lot of times like businesses are going, like they're doing like a longer term PPA or something like that, right?
And you often have more capital.
But yeah,
There's more
but there
needs.
may be options for these. That's a good question.
PPA is,
Power purchase agreement.
Power purchase
Thank you.
agreement. Yeah, sorry. That's interesting. I haven't, I don't know the answer to that, but off the top of my head. I would assume that
That
there's
sounds like
options
big
for that.
businesses do that.
Big businesses do
Yeah,
that, like a small
mom and
business.
pops
Right.
might,
that's,
Right.
that's,
might be eligible. I
That's
don't
what
know.
you're thinking of, yeah.
yeah, like a pizza parlor or something like
Mhm.
that.
Wearing your EDIC hat.
Yes, I am.
Good. So I still have a question though, like, so the idea is that this would be cheaper than just doing the aggregation, all electric aggregation or all green aggregation electricity.
Right, if you went to 100%, well, you could still do 100% renewable for that too, because the community solar may not offset all of your usage depending.
So that, so
But
the
it's a-
real point is the offset that I
It's
just
the
don't
offset,
understand.
it's the offset, and you also get a credit. It's like you get a
Okay.
10% or 20% credit on your bill as well. Like additional bonus, essentially. You're paying a certain amount, the credit that shows up on your Eversource bill is the amount you paid plus 10%. Because they're incentivizing people to do this. So, I mean, essentially, if you opted in for the 100% renewable aggregation option and had this, you're basically kind of supporting solar like on all sides.
Right, but I'm just wondering about the finances of it. It would be beneficial financially to do
Yes.
this. Okay, that's what I was trying to understand.
Yes.
Okay.
Because this is just giving you a credit on your bill. So it's offsetting whatever's on your bill. And your bill is like, if you're paying a rate, you know, for whatever provider you have, right? Whatever supplier.
So that's in a sense, that's the first, if there's a pipeline, the first thing that you interact with is your CSA. And, that's where your power's coming from. You pay them if it doesn't cover all your electric consumption,
Then you still
That's
have an
where
electric bill.
and where you can use the municipal aggregation.
Right.
The rates.
But even the
municipal
municipal aggregation is still gonna be, because it's an offset, right? So let's say I use 100 kilowatt hours in a month. So Eversource is still like, I'm using those 100 kilowatt hours, it's still generating a cost on my bill. Meanwhile, say my community solar generated 80 kilowatt hours. So I'm still paying, the Eversource bill is still calculated based on 100, right? And then the 80 that I'm using here at whatever rate I'm paying them is then being taken off of that.
The remaining 20.
The remaining, so right, but basically you're still, Eversource still sees that you used 100, right? You know, and they're still getting that, they're still getting that 100 from whatever supplier. So you're, in this case, your aggregation provider. The community solar is like an offset. It's going into the grid, but it's not showing up the same way on your bill as like subtracting from your usage. It's just a credit. So your usage is still your usage.
So
And
do you
that-
pay to join community solar?
No, you
Oh.
just pay for the kilowatt hours that are generated on a, you know, whatever the price is that you set with them or that they set with you.
I don't really understand this today, but sure. You can explain to me over a beer.
Yeah, we could try, or not.
It might take a case.
Yeah.
Or something a little stronger.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird for sure. Because it's kind of a separate thing, but then it still comes back onto your bill.
And haven't there been over the years a number of outfits like this that are trying to push this that have been viewed as kind of fishy?
No, more so the ones are like the third party suppliers that are trying to get people to change their energy provider. Like, I mean, community solar is like fairly well regulated, right? There's only it has to be coming from, you know, a facility that's
in our grid.
It's in our grid and it's right. It's like, gone through all the proper approvals and everything else, and they know how much is provided. They can't like subscribe it, right? They have to manage that all pretty closely. What the third party suppliers are the people that are like, stopping people on the street being like, hey, I want to give you a cheaper electric rate.
Yeah.
And that's good for 6 months, and then they jack up and you're in a 3-year contract or something like that. That's where like the shady stuff, I think, comes from. My friend in New York was just asking about the same question. Because he's like, what's up with these people who want to like stop me on the street and like try to get me to switch?
Or come up my front door.
Yeah, yeah, we're all right. So yeah, it's different. It's a different thing entirely. So not to say that, I mean, maybe there's something out there that's somebody's trying to take advantage of something, but it'd be hard to miss.
This sounds legit. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, in Massachusetts, there's certain states where it's much more common, right? Because the states have pushed it one way or another. So Massachusetts, New York, Minnesota, Colorado. So it's it's kind of well established how it works with that. But anyway, just as I'll have another conversation with them again, see if there's something. See whatever the barriers might be to sort of an official partnership with the city and what they're doing. And like, again, they've, worked with Cambridge and some of these other ones. So again, seems legit. I'm assuming they're, city lawyers and everything have vetted this and, they've done their due diligence, but, if it's something else that we could offer alongside a heat pump program and alongside, the residence guide, and sort of get, helps point people into certain things, I think it could be another nice the quiver and the arrow in the quiver.
Yeah.
Some metaphor in there somewhere.
Feather on the arrow in the quiver.
Yes, thank you.
On the back of the man who pushed the
Oh, my.
All right, so risk of belaboring this meeting any further. Anybody have anything else for today?
I just want to say that we keep saying that we're going to have an agenda on our agenda, some decisions about what we're going to now focus on, because a lot of the things we've been working on are about to end. So I just wanted to throw that out. I'm not saying we should do it tonight,
Yeah.
but
We can call it
obviously it's
in.
something we need to do. What?
Are we like, so with the opt-in code, we've just washed our hands now. This is on the building commissioner. Good luck.
Well, actually,
Are we gonna be sort of
No,
involved?
actually, I mean, we need to go back to our climate action plan.
Yep.
And, in terms of that, I think that one of the big issues, actually more with just the new code, it's not so much the specialized code, it's helping developers and builders understand how to build under this new code. And, is there something that we can do? I mean, those are the kind of things that we should talk about is what we do want to do.
I like that we should talk about priorities and is there new stuff
I like
and how
that
much is
too.
gonna be involved in what the bus thing is just beginning.
Right.
I don't wanna
Right.
spend as much time as I used to spend on it, but I'm gonna still hire and or other people will still. be
Sure,
involved.
albatross.
Yeah,
It will be in with, maybe at some point I'll actually get excited about it again, because originally I was excited. Anyway, but then we're gonna have to keep hand holding municipal aggregation to a certain
Right.
extent, right?
Right.
Monitoring it. And we're not done with
Yeah, we
this.
still gotta go. We have several months of that till we're in a contract and like that's up and running.
But it seems like one of the things is outreach, just in general,
Right.
is something
Right.
that maybe we need to
Right.
really think about. That
Yeah.
with all of these things that are starting to happen,
Oh, definitely.
how do we get people to actually participate and know about it?
Yeah, and I've reached to builders, I've reached to landlords,
Yeah.
I've reached to renters,
Yeah.
homeowners, the whole businesses, the whole thing.
By the end of this year, we have a table or presence and community events or whatever. We actually have stuff to invite people to,
Yeah,
either get involved in, or here's how you cope with this new, code, or here, there's things that really jaw with people about and give them information on and
Yeah, I
share
know the edict
share
would
the
be-
climate.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, I share the climate action plan and all that. Yeah.
EDIC would be interested in, I think they would, develop, materials for developers.
Mhm.
So the stretch
Yeah.
code and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
That'd be super cool.
So yeah, we have a lot to be proud of, a lot that we've done recently, and still finalizing a lot of things getting into the implementation stages or finalization stages. So we definitely want to see that through. We have Cassie and the transition there that we have to see through and manage. So yeah, I don't want to stretch us too much thinner quite yet,
No.
until we kind of are through that part of the process.
And maybe that will be
Some
the
of these
ultimate
things up.
discussion. It's just like, what do we have to do to finalize the things that are in place? that,
Yeah.
You know, what's set
And
up.
what's our sustainability coordinator is going to come in and go, hey, what are your priorities? You know, what do you
Right.
want to see happen?
Yeah.
What can we do to support you or to, give you ideas or whatever? So that's going to be, another major piece of that as well. And then,
And then if I could, I just want to say thank you to you all, because I've really learned a lot. It's really inspiring to see you guys have done a lot. Kind of crazy. If you think about when I first started just coming to these meetings and being like, I don't know what we're doing, but okay. And now it's like so much has been done and it's happening still. So it's just like a really exciting.
Well,
time.
Cassie, I
appreciate it.
I really want to say, while we're being recorded, we
Yeah.
never could have done it if you had
For real.
worked this hard.
This
I
is
mean,
true.
you have been extraordinary and helped us, or at least helped me understand things I didn't understand. You've always followed through. If you said you were going to do something, you always did it and more.
Yep.
And you've established relationships throughout the city government so that you can make things happen. And you're such a good collaborator. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We are
You're
so
welcome.
grateful to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, your diligence, your energy, your follow through
Yeah.
on so many things, just like, I mean, you just hear you talk about your last couple weeks, like, I think you've got 10 meetings tomorrow, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You're gonna be so glad you're leaving.
Even that lovely August.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
Do you know officially where you're going yet?
Yeah, Cologne.
Oh, nice.
That was your first choice.
Cologne, yeah. So it's lucky it's like in the city. So I'm excited, really excited for that. Still trying to find an apartment, like all this other stuff, but
Yeah.
it's on the right track.
You got to move and all that too, like internationally amidst
Yeah.
all this.
Yeah, but no, I wouldn't have gone for it if
Any
I
help?
hadn't been learning from you guys, would have been inspired, but I might need some help, I'll let you know. Yeah, so I appreciate it.
Moving day, whatever, we'll have to.
I know, my God, it's gonna be
What
crazy.
do you do? Go shopping at Target and boom and get everything?
They're big into IKEA there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so I don't know, but like, we're
I
just
would
gonna
think your
figure it
biggest
out.
issue would be a place to leave stuff you don't want to take with you.
Yeah, my parents start to get a lot of stuff.
God bless them. But you didn't have
I
parents.
know, exactly.
All right, we'll continue this conversation in a few minutes.
Yes, okay.
I make a motion to adjourn.
We got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Seconded. All in favor?
I
Meeting adjourned.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.